Whew, this isn't like a fun topic to talk about. It's not necessarily something I love, but it's been in the back of my mind for like weeks. And today I just was like, it's the day. I'm ready. It's time to sit down and talk about it. Losing Benny and getting Elton 1 year later. Here is the update on how I'm feeling, what's been going on behind the scenes that maybe you don't know about, and yeah, let's discuss. So July marked 1 year since I trained with Elton John, my current guide dog, which also happens to be 1 year since I unexpectedly had to say goodbye to my guide dog of 8 months, Ben. There's a lot of emotion that goes along with hitting that 1 year mark. And honestly, I didn't want to talk about it in July. So that's why you're getting the 1 year update in August instead. Also, I am celebrating because I feel like getting to 1 year is a big celebration for me. I mean, I didn't get that with Ben, so I haven't had a 1 year anniversary with a guide dog since Gallop, who is in the room. Gallop and Elton are both in the room right now, by the way, and I will give you a little Gallop update later in the video as well. But I got Gallop in 2014, so it's been 9 years since I got to have a 1 year anniversary, and I will be celebrating. Anyways, as you can tell, this is really just gonna be a Molly's Rambles video, so grab a cup of tea, minus lemon ginger, delish. Get cozy, get comfy, maybe grab your dog, grab a cat for a cuddle, and let's talk. Neve's grabbing her tea. She's joining in. She's settling. I have always maintained in my videos and whenever I talk to people who are getting a guide dog for the first time or transitioning from their first to their second and they've never done that and it's, they haven't gotten a guide dog in a really long time, I say it takes a whole year. That whole first year is really hard. And I went through that back to back. I did 8 months. And then I had to lose my dog before even getting to a year unexpectedly. And then I had to do a whole year again. And it was really sweet. One of the girls that I trained with actually had reached out to me around the 6 month mark. And she was like, you always have said that the first year is really hard, that the first 6 months are really hard, the first 3 months are really hard. And oh my God, I didn't know how hard you meant it was. She's like, I don't know how you did this back to back. She's like, I respected you having to go through that when we were at training and watching you deal with that, but I respect you even more seeing how hard this is. And that validation felt really good. Like I really appreciated that and I really needed it because it was damn hard. And frankly, I wish it on no one. And there was many times in those first few months when I regretted it, when I wondered if I made the right decision. And I'll be honest, bonding with Elton is the hardest bonding experience I've had. I think the 2 times that I've lost my dogs in kind of traumatic ways, which was Gypsy and Benny, I really struggled to bond with the next dog because I wasn't necessarily ready, and I don't know that I ever would be. Like when you went through something traumatic, things get easier, but you still live with that internally somewhere in you, right? And so with Gallop, I had the more traditional, typical experience where you plan it. You retire a dog, you have a transitional period, you get a new dog. And so it's easy to bond with that next dog because you're excited and you're ready and you want it and you planned for it. But with Gypsy, the way she died so suddenly and unexpectedly, and with Ben, the way I lost him so suddenly and unexpectedly, bonding with Gallop after Gypsy and then bonding with Elton after Ben was really difficult. And I would say bonding with Elton was even more difficult than bonding with Gallop because not only was I dealing with lots of other things in my life and was also physically sick with Epstein-Barr virus, but I did not know that. I talked about it in this video here. I also feel like he is Gallop and Elton frankly are both difficult dogs to bond with for different reasons. Elton is a people person, a people dog. He's an extrovert, much like myself. I totally get it. We feed off of other people's energy. We love to be in the middle of the vibes. I get it, right? He's an attention seeker. He loves attention. And so for me, was hard to feel like I was special to him because he kind of just acted like I was anybody else. Whereas my other dogs, like, they really loved me. They showed me that I was special. And so it was easy to bond with these animals that showed me how special I was to them. And maybe this speaks to some like deeper rooted issue of my own that I need to work through in therapy or something. I don't know. But Elton like never showed me that I meant more to him than anybody else he met. Like, he just kind of loved everybody equally, and I was just equal with everybody else. And I was like, okay, well, if I'm not special, neither are you. Like, it was just kind of like hard to bond with him when he wasn't really bonding with me. He definitely loved me, but he loved everybody else too. So it wasn't like, oh, this is so special, this dog really loves me and thinks I'm great. It was just like, oh, this dog loves everybody, so okay. And it was like that like up till the 6-month mark, which was December. And I'd say that's when we made a turning point. I think that's when my life started to get a bit easier. I moved in here and lots of other things. Like, I was getting over Epstein-Barr. Like, I was really finally feeling like myself again. So all these other things were also falling into place. And I do strongly believe that dogs can read your energy and feed off of that. So I know that I wasn't necessarily maybe putting out the right energy to him either, for that bond to really flourish. But I would say, like, as of 2023, when the new year hit, like, that's when our bond slowly started turning. And actually, leaving him for 10 days when I went to Japan, that made probably the biggest difference in our bonding. And since then, we've been like glue, the way my other guide dogs were with me within the first few months. So it definitely took us longer to get to the point that I got to with my other dogs within the first 2-3 months. It took us like 8-9 months. And you know, that was difficult, but now I'm definitely feeling so much better. Not to say that there hasn't been other challenges, because there has. I've also always maintained that every dog is completely different, which is another reason it takes a whole year to really adapt and learn and grow and bond and build this trust and this communication and this relationship with this new dog. I mean, when your mobility aid is like a living, breathing creature, it's just like no other experience and no other relationship. There's really nothing else you can compare it to, which is why I think it's important for me to make videos like this and talk about these things, even when it's not necessarily like a fun thing for me to look back on or think about, because I know that for most of us who go through things like this, we don't really have other people in our real life or in our circle who we can speak to about it. And if I'm the only place that you get to talk about this stuff, if my channel is the place that you come to where you can feel validated or share an experience with somebody, then I want to be that for you guys, and I'm happy to do that. So you know, I've always said it really takes that year, and every dog is so different. And I said that when I'd only had 2 dogs, you know, Gypsy and Gallop, because they were so different. But now I've had 4, and I can tell you, oh my God, they're all so different. And in that first year, you're really discovering what's different about this dog to my last one? What makes this dog tick? What training style and techniques really work for this dog and what doesn't? Some respond better to treats, others respond better to praise, others, like, they all have their own thing that works for them. Some dogs are really strong at indoor guiding. Some dogs are more strong at outdoor guiding. Some dogs are like really love doing like find it commands. So like targeting, find a post, find a chair, find a door. Some of them, that's like their weak spot. Like Gallop wasn't as great at doing things like finding chairs. That said, I also like never really asked him to, so it was a skill I didn't keep up with him. But Elton is my most passionate finder. He, like, if you tell him to find a post, by God, that boy is excited. He's like, I've got this. I have got this. He's really cute. He does this thing where anytime I ask him to locate something really specific, he like turns and looks at me. Like he perks up and he quickly whips his head back to look at me like, yeah, you want me to find you the chair? And I'm like, chair. And he's like, okay. And he like gets this like clip in his step and he gets excited to go find that chair. Like, it's so funny. None of my other dogs have been so excited about targeting, which is really great. It's really awesome for me because I lean into that. And I'm like, okay, well, if you love this, let's teach you how to target all sorts of other things. which is so helpful for me. He has fun doing it, and I get him to help me find more and more things in my life that are useful for him to find for me. And of course, as like a more seasoned guide dog handler, I have officially been through training 4 times. I've officially experienced 4 completely different dogs at 4 different times in my life. I went through training back to back within a less than 1 year span, so that really keeps it fresh in your brain. So I, as a handler, have just gotten better at being a handler. I've gotten better at keeping my dog's training up. I've gotten better at training my dog to do new tricks and little techniques. Do you guys have anything to add? Nothing to add. Thank you guys for your words of wisdom for the other guide doggies. Here is a perfect example of it takes a year and the first year is really hard to figure out your dog. I just at this like 1 year mark, or right around the 1 year mark, figured out something about Elton that's super pivotal and really important for his training, and is really important for me to know as his handler that's in charge of now keeping up his training compared to my other dogs. All my other dogs got on my bed. They loved getting on my bed. They would sleep on my bed all night. It was not a problem. Ben didn't even give me a choice. He had done a stint at like a hospice care center where his whole job was to be on beds with kids who were sick and comfort them. So he was like, nah, I'm on the bed for sure. So all my other dogs, like that was just a part of them, and also a part of our bonding. I will say, I also think for me that was hard with bonding. I always bonded with my other dogs through like cuddles and bed and sleeping. And because Elton came highly trained, well done to his puppy raisers. First time puppy raisers, they did the damn thing. They really followed those rules, and I greatly appreciate it. All puppy raisers should. And so he had never, ever been on furniture, ever. I had made the decision as his handler, which is within my right, to let him get on my bed. And I wrestled over it. I was like, oh, maybe I won't, maybe I will. But I was like, you know what? We're struggling to bond. I was also really sick and needed to sleep a lot. So I was like, come cuddle me. I wanted that comfort. I wanted that support and the snuggles and the love. And I felt that would help me bond to him more. And he didn't want to. Like, he straight up didn't want to get on my bed. And I was like, oh, he just thinks maybe he'll get in trouble if he gets on my bed. Or he, for 2.5 years, has not been allowed to get on one, so he doesn't know how or whatever. And slowly but surely, I figured out how to get him on the bed. He would roll off, he would fall off. Like, he was really silly about it. He didn't understand the concept of being on furniture above the ground. And slowly, he got better at it. But he never, loved it. It was still never his choice. He wouldn't sleep with me at night. He would get on if I asked him to. He would stay on for a little bit and then he'd get down. He never really seemed like it was something that he was enjoying. It seemed like something he was doing because I asked him to do it, and he was like, well, okay, if you say so. But then something weird changed. He started getting on the bed uninvited and seeming to really enjoy being on the bed. And at the same time that was happening, I was noticing when he was in his harness guiding, he was kind of slipping up a little bit. He wasn't as sharp. He wasn't as on it. That's the only way I can really describe it. And I kind of made this connection in my brain that these two things simultaneously happened. So I started telling him no when he would get on my bed, and he would immediately jump off. I literally only had to tell him no twice before he completely stopped getting on the bed. He knew real quick that it was a no again. This was now a new rule. We were back to the old rule. New rule is old rule is reinstated, okay? No on the bed. So twice he got up on the bed. I said no. He jumped down. He never tried to get on the bed again. And his guide work went right back to what it was before. He needs firm rules. He thrives on firm guidelines and firm rules in a way that my other dogs didn't need that. My other dogs, I was able to be a bit more loosey-goosey with them. He is not that kind of dog. That's just not his personality. He loves firm rules. He loves to know yes, no, right, wrong, because it allows him to feel secure and safe knowing when and what to do and how to do it. But if I, as the handler, start to blur those lines and make the rules a bit more loose, he does not like that. It's uncomfortable for him. And so that was something that was really good for me to learn, and it took me a whole year to learn it. So yeah, it's really interesting. I would say July, I dealt with a lot of anxiety and just like a lot of stress and anxiety around my dogs. Gallop was sick. I would say since turning 11 in May 2nd was his 11th birthday, he's begun to age a bit more rapidly, wouldn't you say, Mom?
Yes, very much.
Yeah, I'd say once 11 hit...
Big change.
Big change. The aging really began to show. And even just in the past like month or two, the past 6 weeks, we've really seen Gallop go downhill, which is really hard to see. He has to eat soft food now. He can't really eat hard food. He's dealing with a lot of digestive issues. It's harder for him to physically like get up. He kind of just seems a bit more out of it, a bit more lost. He still goes on lots of like long walks. He's always been a really sleepy dog, but even more now, I would say. Yeah. Like he sleeps, he walks, he eats his soft food, his wet food, and that's it. He doesn't interact much at all, except with me. He definitely, in his last month, like since I got back from my brother's wedding, is extra clingy to me and really just wants his mom, which is, oh, I'm gonna get emotional. I wasn't expecting that. It's really hard for me. Trying to balance the two dogs. Elton is a high needs dog. He is very needy when it comes to attention and affection, and I am the one who has to give that to him to maintain our bond. And that's another thing with Elton. I do have to be much more strict with my friends and family about petting him and interacting with him. You give that dog an inch, he will take a mile of your love and attention and affection. And that is his currency. That is what he thrives on. And so that's another firm boundary that I learned I cannot be loose about, that I was being a bit more loose about, because with Gallop and Ben, I could be. And so I've had to go back to being more strict with friends and family again, even when he's off harness, that they just can't, they can absolutely interact with him when he's off harness, but not like, I don't know, like not in the ways that Elton craves them to, like not letting him sit on their laps and give him hugs. And like that has to be a thing that only he and I do to maintain our strong bond, and for him to feel that he's getting something special with me and that working for me, like he thrives on the love and the praise. And so he needs to feel that he's getting something extra special praise-wise from me that nobody else gives him. So it's hard for me to balance Gallop wanting an extra bit of mommy time and love with a dog who is more jealous, which Elton is. He wants to be my one and only. That's part of his quirk and personality, which I absolutely adore about him. He's such a muppety. Such a muppety puppety. But it is difficult, and I've discussed this a few times on my channel, like the idea of living with a retired guide dog versus having them live with a close family or friend who you can still see the dog, but they're not living with you. That would still be my preference. It's personal, it's different for everybody, every dog, every person. This is really hard. And in any other world, if it was possible, I would prefer Gallop to be living with a friend or family member nearby where I could still go see him and visit him regularly, but I did not have to 24/7 balance the emotions and personalities and needs of both of my dogs. So yeah, old man Gallop is definitely old manning. I don't know, I have this like part of me that's like, he has years left in him. And then part of me that's like, oh wow, he went downhill pretty quickly in the past little bit. And that concerns me, and it particularly concerns me because I don't live here full time, and like it would be really hard for me if, say, when I'm in LA for 2.5 months in the fall, which is the plan, for something to take a really bad turn and go wrong and me not be here for that. That would be really hard for me. It's hard for me knowing that in these elderly, very elderly months, he just wants me, and I travel a lot. And I live in 2 places, and he can't come with me to those places anymore because he's not a working dog. And yeah, it's a lot. July was hard. I think I was dealing with a lot of stress around Gallop and him kind of being a bit sick and us trying to figure out needing to transition from the hard food to the wet food and figuring out what was wrong. He's all good now and he's thriving on the wet food, which is awesome to see. But just seeing him kind of age more rapidly was difficult in July. And then also July was that time when I started to figure out kind of more needing to be more firm with boundaries with Elton, and that makes him a more happy dog that can thrive better. It's literally like parenting. There's like so many different parenting styles and different kids need and thrive on different parenting styles. It's like each dog is a different kid and I need to figure out what works for them and what doesn't. And so July I was figuring that out with Elton and we really turned the corner with that. So that was awesome. And he was also having some health issues, but those are all sorted, but that was a bit stressful. And then just, I think deep down internally inside of me, like I was dealing with the anniversary and like trauma lives in your body, whether you're actively thinking about it or whether it's just like deep down subconsciously knowing that July was the anniversary. And last July I was going through a mountain load of stuff and emotions and stress and challenge, that was in me. And so I was also kind of somewhat dealing with that on a subconscious level. But that's why I didn't want to sit down in July and talk about all this. I just wasn't in the headspace. But now everything's much better. Gallop's getting a little bit better. Elton is thriving, awesome. Our bond is so much better than ever before. His guide work is incredible. His health is doing great. I'm really feeling like I know him better than ever and I am becoming the best handler I can be for him and his unique needs and who he is as a unique dog to my other dogs. And the anniversary's done. We're past the 1 year mark. Thank God. Goodbye. May we never see you again. And Ben. When it comes to Ben, I try to only think of the fond memories. I try not to think about him too often just because that's what's best for me. When he first transitioned back to living with his puppy raisers, his foster family, they sent me some pictures and some updates, but I have not reached out since. Like I thanked them for all that and communicated a little bit, but they have not reached out since with any future updates and I have not reached out since to check in. I have thought about it, but I just don't think it's good for me, so I don't. Maybe one day I will be in a place where I want to check in and see how he's doing and get those updates, but enough has been going on in doggy world with me this year that I just haven't felt like it was in my best interest. And hey, Benny doesn't know. Like Ben doesn't know if I've reached out, so I know he doesn't care. And so really for me, I've chosen not to. So I don't have any specific updates on him or how he's doing. But last I heard, he was thriving, living his best pet life, and had 2 doggy sisters and was doing really well. So that's all I care about is that he's happy and he's in the best place for him and that he's doing as well as he can be. And that is really everything. All that to say, I maintain that everything I said when I was less aware and had less experience is still true now that I am more aware and have more experience. It takes an entire year. That whole first year is difficult and challenging. Every dog is completely unique and different, and you gotta figure them out. And you know what? It's hard and it's stressful, and having a real creature who lives and breathes and has needs and wants and wishes is difficult as your mobility aid. It's not easy, but if you are somebody who believes the benefits are worth it, which I am, then pushing through those hard times is worth it. And I'm gonna be real, like there's been times when I regretted it. There's been really hard times when I was frustrated, when I felt like I was a horrible handler or didn't know what to do next. But I feel like in this year I've been through a lot. In these past 2 years, I've been through a lot with my dogs, and I'm in a really, really, really good place, and I'm so happy that at the end of this year and at the end of this update video, I can say I'm in a really good place, and so is Elton. That's all I care about, is we're thriving and we're better than ever as a team, and I'm really happy about that. And I don't regret you. Come here, Elton Melton. Come here, my fluffy lump. I do not regret you. I want you to know that, right? Yes. Yes, and we're doing so good.
Oops, we can only see a body right now.
Alti, that's a good boy. That's a good boy. That's a good boy. I know, he's so obsessed with me now, it's hilarious. For a dog that went from being like, you're the same as anybody else for like months on end, he is now obsessed with me, isn't he, Mom?
Oh, obsessed.
Obsessed. He follows me everywhere, which again is something my other dogs did like from the moment they came home from training. This is only something he started doing in the past few months. He follows me everywhere. If I like close the door because I'm in the bathroom, he sits outside and waits for me in panic. If I leave him for an hour and I come home, he lays at the front door waiting for me to get back. That is not stuff he did for the first like 8 months.
Nope.
But since going to Japan, you realized my value. You don't know what you've got till it's gone. And wow, I learned. I had a winner with my mommy. When she left me for Japan, I realized I love her so much. It's irreplaceable. That's the update. And you know what, Galloper Gooseman, he's 11 and he's a large breed dog. And I feel blessed that he's been healthy and has lived a good life up until now. And I don't know what the future holds. I try not to think about it. And you guys know, if and when anything happens, you'll be in the loop. But that's the update I've got on him. I'm happy we've got him comfortable and doing as well as he can be doing for his age, and nothing major is wrong, and that's what's most important. And we're doing the things we gotta do to make sure that he's as comfortable as he can be as he ages. That's that. I love you guys, and I hope you and your doggies are all having a fabulous day. And until next time, you can click over here to watch a video that I made for anybody who is blind and struggling to pick up that cane. All right, and honestly, a lot of you who have like chronic illness or other forms of disability really resonated with that video as well. So it's not just for you blind folk, I guess. Watch that too. Or you can click over here to watch me talk about the times I choose to not take my guide dog with me and I take the cane instead. All right, those are 2 good Molly Rambles videos I posted recently. Until next time, I hope you all have a fabulous day. Hug your dog for me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.